Guests, stand by. Thunderbirds, stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds, activate! Hello and welcome to another Raspberry Jam-packed edition of the Fandomain, and I'm here yet again with Mr. Paul Coleman. How do you do, sir?
Are we airing? I'm sorry, I was playing with your Thunderbirds. Hello!
Well, we're here to talk about a few British things yet again. In this case, we're calling it the Great British Revival, just to tie into a few formats at the moment, like baking, sewing, pottery as well. Who knew? Interior design. What? Anyway.
What is happening in this country lately?
So first of all, since we last came to air, Series 1 of Thunderbirds Our Go came to a conclusion. And how have we liked the entire series so far?
Allow me to express my displeasure that it's ended. Boo! Heckle hiss! But it's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's almost on a par with the original.
I would argue something similar. This is the thing I absolutely love about it. I think, like I mentioned before, it's got the spirit of the original, but it's updated for the modern audience. It's a win-win situation, really.
It's definitely a win-win, and I can't express enough joy of sometimes occasionally walking through a store and seeing Thunderbirds merchandise again. It does make you quite happy.
Well, neither can I, as you can tell with obviously you can't see, but I've brought some friends along, Scott Tracy, Alan Tracy, Virgil Tracy, in the forms of tiny little die-cast Thunderbirds models.
Yeah, I've just been playing with them for the last 10 minutes.
And when I say tiny, they're really tiny. Like Star Wars Micro Machines vehicles tend to be bigger than these things. But speaking of merchandise, Toy Fair in London was just a couple of weeks ago, and since the end of Series 1, we've been treated to a plethora of what seem to be just incredible bits of merchandise from Vivid Toys.
It's a veritable smorgasbord of goodiness.
Oh, yes. But, and yes, we've got all sorts coming. We've got Thunderbird Shadow and FAB1 in toy form, which should be hitting shelves fairly nowish, and some people have already got them. So go you, whoever you are. So apart from them, we're also finally getting a Thunderbird 5 in a regular vehicle form. Any Thunderbirds fans out there will recognise what I'm saying when I say of the 5 main vehicles, Thunderbird 5 has had the least love, especially when they re-released all the toys in the 90s. I never got a Thunderbird 5. Did you?
I didn't even realise there was a Thunderbird 5 toy in that line.
There was, only for a brief moment. I think it was in year 2000. They finally released the Thunderbird 5, but there was something wrong with the sound chips on it, so they had to be recalled. So,
well, that just kind of ruins
that was short-lived. But
I mean, you could have like a solar system on your rooftop now, can't you? And put hang Thunderbird 5 from the top and Thunderbird 3.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And of course, there'll be a multi-pack deal with them. We're also finally getting a KO figure.
Oh, yes.
Like how Hasbro and Star Wars have been surprised at the demand for Rey for The Force Awakens. You know, Thunderbirds and Vivid have kind of been surprised by the reaction of fans for KO and how much she and Thunderbird Shadow is in demand. It's like, well, obviously. I mean, characters done well, they're going to be in demand.
I think it is. KO is one of the more popular characters of the recent set. You know, she's definitely since this relaunch and a prime, you know, linchpin for the updating of the classics. You know, if they do characters right and they make successful modern characters, they're going to become grounded in the show's mythology.
Exactly,
which is what we need with sort of modernisation, which is taking exactly what made the classic fantastic. You need to add the great new characters that are going to be more popular in the future than they are now, in a way.
A good example of the popularity of KO and Thunderbird Shadow, there was a poll done on ITV last month about all 6 Thunderbird vehicles, and fans were told to pick their favourite. Thunderbird 2 obviously came first. Thunderbird Shadow was second, and the spikes for Thunderbird 2 and Shadow were through the roof virtually. Closely followed behind in third place is Thunderbird 1, I think it was, but the rest were all little amounts of votes compared to the others, and it just goes to show how well Thunderbird Shadow and KO have been, introduced into this modern world.
I missed that vote, but I have to say I'd probably have gone for Thunderbird 1 because I'm still always been a massive Thunderbird 1 fan. I just like it. It just goes.
I couldn't decide.
No,
I think I ended up picking Thunderbird Shadow because of,
KO,
because of how new it was. But
it is a difficult choice. And when you watch the originals, you was only torn between two of the vehicles, weren't you?
Yeah,
Thunderbird 1 and Thunderbird 2.
You were only torn between 1, 2, and arguably 4 because 3 and 5 were hardly ever in it.
It was like what I said. It's like what I said when we originally discussed Thunderbirds. If you knew somebody that was Thunderbird 3, you instantly disowned them. You cut them out.
But yeah, speaking of Thunderbird 3, the show-stopping main attraction of London Toy Fair was the single biggest Thunderbird vehicle that will ever be produced, a supersized Thunderbird 3. Now, if you have seen the supersized Thunderbird 2, that's about a foot long or something ridiculous. That is fairly huge, but Thunderbird 3 is nearly in scale with it, which means it's like a third longer. And if you're listening on YouTube, the links will be in the description below to check it out, but as the unofficial Thunderbirds merchandise reporters tweeted to me, it cannot be stated how huge this thing is. But it's not just the size that's incredible, it's all the features that come with it as well, including, which I think is incredible for a toy company like Vivid, a function that you only really see on like high-end collector train kits, like Hornby train sets, and that's a smoke effect.
Love it!
And video will be linked as well. But there's a smoke effect that comes from the engines, and there's light coming from the engines that make it look like there's fire coming out. For a kid's toy, it just seems too good. And obviously it comes with Alan Tracy and KO as well. It comes with so many oodles of voice clip, and with its 3 arms extended, it can stand upside down. It looks like a really versatile toy, and I cannot wait to get my grappling hands on it.
It actually sounds really good. I'm actually excited to see that in fully working function. Unfortunately, I think the price tag is going to be more reflective of all the features on there, so...
Just a tiny bit,
I think that's a birthday and a Christmas present for the next 2 years combined.
little bit, but the way it's packed, the box isn't much bigger than Thunderbird 2 supersized, and the big Thunderbird 2 was retailed at £40, so I can't see Thunderbird 3 going over 50.
It might probably push 60, I think. I think probably for the effects
for the money grabbers, yeah. But continuing more with the actual show, they've already revealed a little sneaky teaser for Series 2. And for Series 1, they used real miniature sets for the locations, the backgrounds, everything. But they used like blocks of green to represent the Thunderbird vehicles, so they could put them in post-production. So obviously they interact with the environment, etc. This time, for Series 2, they're actually going to use fully realised Thunderbird models. So the Thunderbirds you will see in Series 2 will actually have been there and not CGI creations. The characters, obviously, will still be CGI.
Yeah.
But this is what I've liked since the beginning. I've liked this delicious-looking fusion flavour of CGI characters and vehicles against real backgrounds. It gives it a really unique look, and it's just so... And we'll still get the similar thing with Series 2, but a little bit more realised and a little bit more advanced, and it'll give Series 2 its unique tint, as it were.
A unique quality, and unique je ne sais quoi.
But yeah, it's going to be good for the diehards as well. When we'll be seeing all the thankfully endless repeats in the future, you'll be able to tell straight away visually, which one's a Series 1 episode, which one's a Series 2 episode, and if they go beyond, which one will be a Series 3 episode, etc.
Yeah, that'll be good, because it's also, we're using real-life models on there. I think as well, what I'd like to mention, and what we've definitely found good about Thunderbirds is, we all know there was a disastrous 2004.
Yeah, there was a thing in 2004 that tried to recreate
it was absolutely disastrous. Whatever it was disastrous.
Sorry for those listeners across the pond, but it was Americanized and it did ruin it.
But they did have some, of that movie, they did actually have some interesting story ideas.
Yeah.
With, Tintin being hinted at as being the Hood's niece.
Yeah.
And Thunderbirds Are Go has taken these ideas and actually applied them to characters in the show. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, and I don't think...
Yeah, exactly. But that's not the only idea the new series has taken from the 2004 film. There's stuff like for the vehicles, for example. FAB-1 can fly. That was first done in 2004. And also, glass windows in Thunderbird 1's cockpit. That was in the 2004 version as well. The thing is, this new series, as well as bringing back the spirit it's the actual essence of the original Jerry Anderson 60s series. It's basically looked at 2004 and said, okay, I see where you're going with some of these ideas, but we're going to take them and we're going to do it better. This is how you should do it. And sorry for the poor New Zealand accent.
I thought we were going down the route of Stewie Griffin there, nearly.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's what's made it more enjoyable, seeing those ideas actually fully developed, fully realised, and fully given the heart and spirit that it should have been given when it was on the big screen.
Yeah.
Made that movie quietly rest in its bargain bucket basement tins.
Yeah, exactly. But
not that we hated it at all.
No, I mean, to be fair, Sophia Myles as Penelope, that was a good choice.
It wasn't a bad choice at all.
Yeah,
actually. No, but Ben Kingsley the Hood wasn't bad either.
Yeah, but
he hadn't camped it up. He hadn't camped it up.
Yeah, but it was appropriate for the thing. So whatever. But
it was just conditional circumstances.
But also another thing as well, because of the new Thunderbirds Argo series, obviously some people like myself are going to initially say, oh, are they going to do a movie based on this version? But the thing is, I don't think that's necessary, really, at all. If they want to do another live action version, obviously basing it on this new series would be good. But like I say, I don't think it would be necessary because obviously, as we've seen, it does work at its best as a TV series.
And serialised stories to complete the transition of each character from beginning to end in a nice, wholesome circle with Thunderbirdly goodness.
But as we very impatiently wait the arrival of Series 2 later in the year, what are we looking forward to in Series 2? Are there any things that we want?
Definitely more Thunderbird Shadow action.
Well, yeah.
that's tops the wish list. Thunderbird Shadow. I wouldn't mind seeing some more Penelope and Parker.
Yeah.
I like to see them a bit more in the actual firing line a bit, because I know they've had episodes where they've been in the firing line, but I want to see them more brought into it, because I did like Lady Penelope and Parker in the original series.
Definitely do agree there. But there's one thing that's been referenced, been hinted at throughout Series 1, and that's, of course, the big question. Where's Jeff Tracy?
Yeah, that is the mystery that I think is going to be the overreaching story arc of Series 2, I think.
Yeah.
And it'd be good to actually see flashbacks, and I think you alluded to last time that we may see him in some capacity.
Yeah, we don't know how, because the creators of the show, they haven't officially stated he's dead yet. We don't know if he's actually dead.
It's MIA, isn't it?
Yeah, the creators have said they may do more around Jeff Tracy in Series 2, if not Series 3.
Yeah.
So there's a long-term plan there. But there's one other elephant in the room that nobody has ever talked about, who hasn't even been mentioned from the start.
Go on.
Mrs. Tracy.
Well,
where's the boy's mother?
That is the great question of the hour. I personally think when they discover what's happened to Jeff Tracy, we will simultaneously discover what's happened to Mrs. Tracy. I think the disappearance is tied in together.
Well, I'd argue maybe not, because in the beginning of Series 1, we were told extensively in the Series 1 premiere that the Hood brought down Jeff Tracy's ship/vehicle, whatever it is, and Mrs. Tracy wasn't even mentioned or referred to. So if she was disappeared at the same time, surely that would have been mentioned, I think. But do you have an idea?
I have a perplexing qualm on it. Would it not be interesting to see that at some point Jeff Tracy has become so obsessed with the actual international rescue thing, he's alienated his wife?
Okay.
And his wife has either obviously left him, which would probably be the more logical option, or the far-reaching option, which I would be absolutely shocked if this is actually a twist, that she's actually somehow become so bitter and resentful of her former husband for actually spending all this time that she's actually sided with the Hood.
Oh.
That would just be like...
That would be very good.
Because that would be the only way that the Hood has managed to successfully infiltrate Tracy Island, successfully bring down Jeff Tracy. But, why would she want to do that to her own children? Is that the question of the hour now?
To be fair, the Hood wasn't interested in the Tracy brothers. He was interested in the vehicles.
Yeah.
So, that could tie into it as well.
Then she might be able to get her kids back to being her kid as opposed to father's kids.
Maybe. This sounds very good, but remember, of course, this is essentially for younger audiences. So even though we've had some fairly heavy stuff, like how dangerous nuclear energy is and all that stuff, that might be going over the edge a little bit.
I did say it was a bit of a stretch.
But it is definitely a good idea. And if you want a slightly more happier alternative...
Yes.
An idea that I had is that we all know Jeff Tracy's background is an astronaut, that's how kind of the origin of at least some of International Rescue, aka, Thunderbird 3. And, the whole technology surrounding Tracy Island and all that stuff with Thunderbird 5 as well. And, of course, International Rescue doesn't just deal in rocket power and space and everything, it deals underwater as well. So I had an idea that Mrs. Tracy could be like a marine biologist or something, like an expert in underwater research or something. And she could be away in an underwater research lab somewhere in the world, probably the other side in the Atlantic. She's basically living there, and even though there's not really any bad blood between her and the rest of them, they've just become a bit isolated from each other. And I would love it if there was an episode that in the future that Gordon Trace is needed for, and he goes down to an underwater research lab that's in trouble, and oh wait, it's one that their mother's at. Like, whoa.
That'd be a good idea, definitely.
It could be a nice surprise for him. So.
Yeah, it'd be a nice, wholesome family story. A lot less dark than our previous interpretation.
Well, your interpretation.
Yeah, I think I went down too dark. Too dark, man. Too dark.
As dark as your mind.
I think both ideas are interesting. Yeah. One that's probably never going to see the light of day ever again, but one that is potential.
Yeah. Because from the way they talk about, Jeff and the family and everything, it doesn't seem like there's really any negativity there, if you know what I mean. It doesn't seem like there's really any burning, damn you parents or anything. But hey, good news for people across the pond in America. You will soon be able to experience modern-day Thunderbirds as you are meant to experience them, because Amazon Prime will finally be showing Thunderbirds in America, because for some strange reason, no other network in America, none of the TV networks have, picked it up for broadcast. Not even PBS or BBC America. It's very strange. I don't understand that. But, no, Amazon Prime have bought distribution rights, and you'll be seeing it on there soon. So, if you've got the money...
Definitely something for our American audience to definitely look into and enjoy. And obviously, whilst you're obviously watching Thunderbirds, keep an eye out for Clarkson, May and Hammond. They're going to be back soon again, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
They have been filming it now, from what I've been reading and hearing. I think it's going to be keeping a lot of the very similar vein to the original show.
Their original show, yeah.
Yeah.
If you may have heard, last spring, they suddenly became unbusy.
As much as this, they're trying to bring in the big manpower behind for the new BBC version of Top Gear, I'm afraid it's going to have to be renamed Evans Gear, seemingly turning into a show all about him.
Just a little bit. I mean, there already have been criticisms about his conduct and the fact that he's acting like a bit of a diva on set and everything. And what gets me about it is that we've already had the, frankly, weird, bonkers announcement that Matt LeBlanc, Joey from Friends, is going to be one of the presenters on new Top Gear.
He was the fastest man to go around the track, and he does like his cars, but it's not. It sounds like they're just bringing in a big name for the sake of a big name.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, especially if you'll ask my nearest and dearest Kristen, hi.
A good day to you, madam.
Especially if you ask her, the American version of Top Gear is awful, and to bring in an American actor for the original British series seems a bit... I don't know. I can't actually find the word for that. I mean, I can't find the word for a lot of things, but...
It seems a bit pretentious, like it's trying to appeal to the American audience as well.
Even though it did from the get-go.
A lot of the episodes where they went into America are absolutely hilarious.
But as well as that, what kind of gets me as well is the fact that because we've had Matt LeBlanc's announcement, we've had former Formula 1 driver Eddie something or other. He's now announced as one of the presenters, and there are going to be more quote-unquote big names. So we're not going to have the original three-guy format, which, I mean, obviously the format was going to change anyway, we knew that. But now it's sort of turning into a kind of magazine programme, I feel, and with Evans as the main host and all these different roving reporters submitting their own reports, outside the studio or wherever. And it just seems like it's going to be the one show with cars.
I'm definitely looking forward to the Clarkson, May and Hammond to just raise that point, because that's going to...
I would be looking forward to it if I could watch it.
Yeah, I think
Prime.
I think Amazon needs to just look at...
They need to reevaluate how you...
subscribe to the service.
Yeah. So, we've got Top Gear and not Top Gear coming up soon. So
Top Gear and First Gear.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's ironic as well, isn't it? Because a couple of the older presenters who used to be on Top Gear, like Tiffany Dell and what have you, they went to Channel 5 to do their own car show, Fifth Gear. So
BBC has a habit of driving these people away, doesn't it?
Just a bit.
And literally in a car driving them away.
Yeah. Well, they did Fifth Gear. That was what Top Gear used to be.
Yeah.
Before the Three Boys. But
that just changed everything, and I hope they keep this kind of challenge segments, because those challenges were always hilarious. I still laugh every time I watch the ambulance one at the moment.
And that was the one that referenced Thunderbirds, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Thunderbird reference one.
But speaking of format changes for Great British institutions, since the last episode of the Fandomain, it's been announced that Stephen Moffat will be leaving Doctor Who after Series 10. And not only that, Series 10 will be next year, 2017, will only have a Christmas special this year. So we're having a bit of a break, which I think is good, is necessary once in a while.
Yeah, it's had a big non-stop run since, obviously, the major specials recently, hasn't it? Because they had the 50th anniversary special, and then before that they had the specials with David Tennant, which was building up to him leaving, and obviously Russell T Davies leaving. So let's just hope that Moffat doesn't do a Russell T Davies and make it over the top.
So are we wishing, hoping / wanting anything for Series 10, apart from what you just mentioned?
I think there is a few questions that Moffat does need to tie up. Obviously, there is how the Master has become the Mistress. We know it's how it's happened, but he got taken into a time-locked zone at the last indication.
We want to see the change, damn it. In other words, we want to see John Sim turn into Michelle Gomez.
Yeah. Much as I loved Heaven Sent and Hellbent, we do need to see how Gallifrey has returned. The Long Way Round was fantastically done. That scene was absolutely fantastic.
It was.
Taking that long to go around.
Heartbreaking as well as wall-breaking as well.
Yeah.
Remember I said that if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. But how Gallifrey has returned, and Moffat did promise us it would be an unforgettable cliffhanger. It was. He also said it would be unexpected. BBC, please just take this in note. Please work on your promotional material.
And stop printing spoilers.
Airing the speech that Clara gave in Face the Raven, and then at the next episode saying that Gallifrey would be waiting, kind of takes away the punch a bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. That being said, I didn't actually read any of the spoilers for Heaven Sent. I didn't read any of the spoilers, though I did have an indication knowing Moffat that Gallifrey would be behind there, because I could kind of get that glimpse of the sunny deserts of Gallifrey.
Yeah. As soon as he landed on this seemingly new planet, you kind of knew where it was, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of Capaldi himself, there's also an indication, not confirmed yet, as of this recording, but there's also an indication that he may be leaving with Moffat.
Yeah. The thing why I believe this rumour slightly more than any of the normal rumours is that it has come from the man himself, that he has actually spoken and said, Series 10 may be my last.
Yeah.
But it would be nice, but I am a big fan of Capaldi.
Yeah, well, so am I. I mean, when Capaldi was announced, everyone said, we want Capaldi, but we want him with a new showrunner. but you know, the irony is that the last series has been one of the best in recent years. So
Series 8 and Series 9 back-to-back have been wonderful. There is obviously...
there's been the odd weakling. We definitely feel Mark Gatiss needs to stick with Sherlock at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. But the big question is... Series 9, just obviously in retrospect, before we look forward to Series 10, what has been your standout for Series 9?
Do you know what? I cannot decide. It's got to be one of the episodes around the beginning. I definitely enjoyed the second two parts, Under the Lake and Before the Flood. That was probably one of my favourite stories of Series 8.
Oh, it was a fantastic story.
Because it had, as well as it being so well done, it had such a classic vibe to it as well.
It felt like a Tom Baker-styled episode, kind of. Days Under Siege style horror.
A little bit. And also, as well, we had some groundbreaking stuff in there in terms of casting, because we had a deaf actress. It wasn't like her deafness wasn't actually brought up as a disability but a strength, and that was incredible. Obviously, as soon as we started seeing the ghosts moving their mouths, I thought, she's going to lip read dementia. But
convenient plot device, but it wasn't actually an obvious.
Yeah, exactly. But like I say, all these things that you would consider, you know, a handicap, you know, played to the strengths of the episode, especially in Before the Flood.
Yeah.
And she had that daredevil moment when she actually felt the ghost with the axe coming behind her. That was brilliant.
Definitely.
She was, you know, an instant fan favourite, and frankly one of my favourites as well.
I think from my side as well, I would say Under the Lake and Before the Flood were fantastic.
Yeah.
But also the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion.
Those were the ones I was trying to think of, because...
I loved the fact that it was the Zygon Insurgency that was doing it, and that we actually got to see Jenna Louise Coleman play the nasty villain for once, in a way.
Yeah. And we had both sides of, you know, this Zygon Insurgence as well.
Yeah.
Because both of those Zygon episodes, as well as the aforementioned, they were really topical.
Yeah.
Because you had some Zygons living amongst humans that were like refugees, here and now, that just want to live in peace and want to be alone. And because of this insurgency, they're being given a bad name.
Yeah.
And then as well, every single congratulation deserved for Capaldi and his anti-war speech. That was one of the most incredible moments in not just Series 9, but in modern Doctor Who.
Yeah. And I also have to raise, it was the episode where we finally got some good quality unit action.
Oh, yeah. Certainly.
And then again, the line that always sticks with me from the Zygon invasion is the one where he's talking on the plane with Osgood, and he's like, why would the Zygons want to invade Britain? What are they going to do? Steal our benefits? Absolutely hilariously topical, but funny. But with Series 10, I think there's a few things that we definitely now need to leave behind.
Yes.
Don't want to see any more of me. A Shielder's story has nicely wrapped up in a way. She's now with Clara. We don't need to see that anymore. That story's neatly wrapped around. She was considered to be the hybrid in a way. She was. I think that definitely should be left behind.
Yeah.
I think the main story I'd like to see for Series 10 is revolving around Gallifrey.
I was going to say, Gallifrey. I think that definitely needs more expansion because, it's there. In a way, it's there for the taking.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't want to bring back the Time War. The Time War should now rest. It's been wrapped up quite nicely now for a number of years.
Yeah.
With the Gallifrey storyline, they need to focus on Rassilon, the President, because he was banished by the Doctor.
Yeah.
I think we can have Rassilon, Missy, who had a very clever idea the last time we saw her.
Yes, but we didn't see that come to fruition.
Yeah.
I was certain she was going to come back for the
I was hoping, but
I think Missy above anything is going to get a Series 10 treatment because how can you not have Michelle Gomez now?
That's just absolutely fantastic, and she's now up there with my favourite master, the original Delgado. I've got reservations about Chris Chibnall.
Yeah.
We've had some good episodes. We've had some mediocre episodes. I mean, the Power of Three was good, but it kind of petered out.
Yeah, it just fizzled out towards the end.
Yeah, it was like fizzle boom, but no boom.
Yeah, Series 3 was a good, strong series, but if any episode was the weak link, it would have been his episode, and that's 42.
It was
Even though it was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
But like I say, like in The Forest of the Night, it didn't have the splash that the rest of them had.
I mean, the only episode of Chris that I actually remember significantly was Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. And that was only because it was so ludicrously preposterous and actually a significantly hilariously entertaining episode.
Yeah.
Especially with the commentary on the beach of, why do you have a trowel? You don't have one, put it on your Christmas list. I don't have a Christmas list. I do!
Exactly.
It was witty. It captured Matt Smith's Doctor perfectly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Chris Chibnall, I mean, to be fair, I'm not that confident on him at the moment either. But having said that, the best episodes that he has done within the universe of Doctor Who have been for Torchwood.
Yeah.
Specifically Torchwood Series 2. And the stuff that he's done there, they've been quite good. I mean, like the Torchwood Series 2 finale. You had fragments and exit wounds.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
And it was pretty much a tour de force. It was pushing the boundaries of what they could show on a Doctor Who universe, which was good.
Captain Jack Harkness is definitely credited as being one of the best of Series 1. It's John Barrowman's personal favourite. But yeah, I mean, outside of the Doctor Who universe, though, Chris Chibnall's best known probably now for doing Broadchurch.
Yeah, he's taken in a lot of Doctor Who alumni from there, hasn't
he? Yeah, just a bit. But so we know he's got the chops for doing drama.
He can do serious drama. Now the problem is, succeeding Moffat is going to mean you're going to have a big story arcs to follow.
Just a bit. I don't think it's worth him trying to reach Moffat's level. I don't think. But considering the criticism of Broadchurch Series 2, there is a worry that his work past his first series may not be as refreshing and new and original. Obviously, with so many people in the pot of the creation of Doctor Who, there will be new stuff, there will be original stuff always coming and going. But yeah, Broadchurch Series 2 was criticised for being basically a rehash of the first series.
I mean, that's a good point, actually. When Chris Chibnall takes over, I think the writers that need to stay with the show would definitely include Jamie Matheson, because after The Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline, The Girl Who Died was a good episode, but it didn't feel as good or as strong as Flatline or Mummy on Orient Express. And I only personally think that was because of Moffat himself, because he used that episode as a base to actually say, I'm wrapping up the mystery of where the Doctor found out his face.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like that was what the main orientation of the episode was, unfortunately, in a way. Because obviously The Woman Who Lived was far significantly stronger than The Girl Who Died.
Certainly, yeah.
It's no discredit to Jamie Jamie Matheson.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's just obviously with Moffat wanting to add that element in there, it kind of detracted away from Jamie's original script.
Yeah. In terms of returning writers, I definitely want Sarah Dollard back. She did Face the Raven. Catherine Tregenner. Yeah. She was the other one in Torchwood Series 2. Did amazing episodes.
She did Meet was brilliant.
Yeah, Meet and the one where the people are out of time.
Yep.
That was one of my favourites ever. So yeah, definitely
Matheson, Catherine, and
Tregenner, and Sarah Dollard, and
Toby Whithouse. Yes. Toby Whithouse of Being Human fame. Bring him back.
Yeah, exactly.
He gave us a town called Merthyr, and that was.
The thing is, I really thought Toby Whithouse was going to replace Moffat. I mean, people were saying Gatiss, but obviously not now. But no, I thought Toby Whithouse was going to be a serious contender for replacing Moffat, and but with Chibnall, like anything, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But
if he is looking for any other writers, we're available. We've come up with some fantastic Doctor Who stories.
Oh yeah.
I think obviously as we were saying, Rassilon and the Mistress taking on the Doctor. If you need some help there,
we'll definitely
pitch that one for you. Obviously, Moffat needs to wrap up all his nice little story out.
Bit of an understatement.
Time of the Doctor did well for just wrapping it up. Some of the answers weren't what we expected, so he's got 14 episodes with Series 10. It's confirmed 14 episodes recently in Doctor Who magazine.
But speaking of great BBC series that have come back, some of the best news has come out within the past couple of weeks, apart from all the Thunderbird merchandise, obviously, that has truly made my childhood just jump through the roof, and now I have to pay for the repairs. Robot Wars is returning.
Yes, that's £500 for the roof to be repaired.
We've already had an announcement on who's going to present it. Going back to Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson presented the first series, and followed by Craig Charles, who presented it until it died off. But now, Dara O'Brien is going to be presenting Robot Wars, and replacing Philippa Forrester will be another Irish TV presenter, Angela Scanlon.
Oh, yeah.
But the best thing is, Jonathan Pierce, the commentator, will be returning in all his glory.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, yes. And there have been 2 teaser videos that have just been released as of this recording, and they're teasing the return of the House Robots as well.
I was going to say it's Kill-A-Lot coming back.
I should hope so. But we've got a tease of the original House Robots, of like Matilda and Dead Metal and Shunt and Sergeant Bash. But Paul, who was your favourite?
I just liked them all. They were very difficult to choose. If I chose one over the other, I'd be afraid that the other ones would hunt me down and kill me. Because they were quite aggressive. And then so Kill-A-Lot appeared and it's like, stabby, stabby.
I've still got my radio controls to Kill-A-Lot. It's in a box somewhere. And like with all my other robot stuff I was into back then, I just put it in a box, and now I'll have to dig it out again. I mean, I don't know about you, but I absolutely cannot wait for the return.
I am very much looking forward to it.
It looks like it's coming back this year, actually.
Yeah.
They're really fast-tracking it, I think.
Speculation is vast about that. We're looking probably about October, I think, aren't we? It might replace Doctor Who for that series.
Yeah, it might be combating
FAB.
Thunderbirds Argo Series 2, as well as the Doctor Who Christmas special. But, we'll just have to wait and see. But the thing is, this has been pointed out in Radio Times or something, since the previous series, technology has come such a long way. I mean, back then, switches and stuff, through radio signals, infrared, whatever. But now, with touch screens and augmented reality and all that stuff, there's so much potential that I haven't listed. There's so much potential new contestants can do with their competing machines.
Looking very good, and we're very excited for that. And obviously, until we get some official confirmation of the House Robots and what kind of entry requirements we're getting, we're going to have to put a hold on building our robot for the moment.
We definitely know the original 4 House Robots are returning.
Yeah.
Kill-A-Lots, I would say there's a strong probability that is returning. I don't know about the newer 3 that they introduced, Mr. Psycho, Growler, and Cassius Clay.
That was a bit of a promotional stunt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a boxing robot, and it was a bit useless. But Refbot should be back as well, because he became a main fixture of the thing. But just as a quick thing, if you designed a competing robot, how would you design?
With kablowy powers! Lots and lots of
actually not in the rules.
Okay, with solar-powered energy so that they could take in the heat of the Earth's yellow sun and become a Kryptonian.
It's all indoors.
I'm doomed. I'm doomed.
When the original series was on, I actually did a drawing of a robot that I would have loved to have done. And it basically looked a bit like a lobster. It had big pincers at the front.
Yeah.
And then it had a pneumatically powered spike in the middle that would punch through it like a, alien tongue or something. Xenomorph, yeah.
That'd work. We should design that. We should. So, we hit the workshop and cued the music. Dun, 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 dun.
So Robot Wars coming your way later this year, as well as Thunderbird Series 2 and the Doctor Who Christmas special, so look out for them. And I think that will do for now, and it's a good night from me.
A good night from him.
Cheerio! Cease!
We hope you can throw sci-fi at the wall with us too, next time you tune into Fandomain on BCB Radio 106.6 FM, tuned into Bradford.